Absolutely.
our guy in the chair. And we're gonna have a blast today.
I already told everybody.
Everybody?
I even called Anthony Gargano today.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, "Yo, Benny boy." I said, "Yo, we got a special guest today."
Yeah. All right, so our guest today, for those of you watching, is Mike Dempsey, who is a former NFL player. We'll talk about it a little bit, but he has survived two national tragedies, which is crazy stories. He is a wonderful man who's a part of many charities. And we'll talk more about that as well, and where he gives back and what he does to give back. And then Ben's biggest connection, I think, is the autism piece, right?
Yeah.
And so he is a father, and his daughter has autism like Ben does, and he's very passionate about that. And I think that's how you and him connected, right? So, So what's the story there, Ben?
So the story is we met last year through Access Services, and then I went to the golf outing at Ron Jaworski's Jaws event.
Ah, right.
And it was a lot of fun. I got to do chest bumps with different people. I got to see Doug Peterson. I said, "How's the ice cream?" But I was just kidding. But yeah, I mean, we got to meet up, and it was just a lot of fun. Shout out to the Jaws Youth Playbook. They do such a great job for what they do and giving back to the community. And they do a lot of good stuff.
And what was that event like? Like what? So you went and you were volunteering.
Yeah, I was volunteering. I was at the 16 hole, and they said if you get in, you get a brand new car. Like the price is right.
So you were checking for hole-in-ones?
Yeah,
okay.
I was checking for hole-in-ones.
But see, Ben, you're pretty.
But I met a lot of people there that day.
Yeah.
I met the people who did the stuff, and they invited me to a Phillies game.
There you go.
So
let's thank
Mike Dempsey.
Here. Mike,
Yes,
thank you so
thank
much
you
for
so much
joining
for
us.
coming.
Really appreciate you being
Hey,
on the
Ben.
show.
Hey guys, can you see me and hear me? Good?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
All right.
Can you see? Oh, looks like our camera. Let me click this real quick. There we go. Can you see us now?
There, I can see you guys.
Yeah,
That's
there we go.
all
There we
right.
go.
Good to see you guys. That's
All
great.
right, yep.
So, thank you for the great intro, by the way. But I just want to qualify and say that I appreciate all the sentiment, but my NFL days were very short. There was less than 2 weeks in a training camp with the Bucs in 1995 because I had busted ACL. I was on the rehab trail from an arena football injury, ACL meniscus, and Sam Weiss didn't like me too much, so I got an injury settlement. But that's all good. But I've been able to serve a lot of the NFL alumni charities and still help out a lot of great organizations and relive very few. So I'm in the Hall of Shame, probably, as I call it.
No, definitely.
I see
not.
Derek
okay.
Brooks, who was my brief teammate. I said, Derek, you made the Hall of Fame. I made the Hall of Shame. But it's all good. But we're all a great community. One thing about the NFL is it is a brotherhood. Out here every year for Super Bowl, helping others, and we really this network, this community just continues to thrive and get better. We have an amazing. I don't want to skip to that part, but we have this amazing alumni legends party we're doing Friday night with Mr. Gronkowski as our host, and we have Rice. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I may not sleep that night. I'm gonna have to take a lot of caffeine. I need some energy.
Sure.
Does he? In me.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, what?
Does Gronk have a lot of energy? Because if I ever want to meet him, I'm gonna say me and him can match our energy together.
Yeah, I think you're probably
he's got energy. I think.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need Starbucks, or he just takes a dose of energy. And
I mean, I seen his Instagram post like at Disneyland last year when he won the Super Bowl. He was like having a Jedi lightsaber. He went on the Star Wars ride.
Yeah.
If he likes roller coasters, hey, we have to go on a coaster.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a character. Yeah, he is one of a kind, and we have Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Kurt Warner's coming, Larry Fitzgerald. We got a lot of great talent coming out, so it's gonna be fun. Have a list somewhere. Justin Tuck. I mean, we have a lot of Anthony Michael Hall, the actor, coming.
Wow!
Dean King, Superman. Superman's even come to our event, which is awesome.
Superman.
So it's gonna be
I was gonna say that's gotta be like it's gotta be a nice invite list, right? But I'm sure it's also gotta be. Yeah, exactly. But I wanted real quick to mention just what you're saying about the NFL and the way that they help, and really that's a big piece for Ben too with the whole Eagles Autism Foundation. And just with Jeff Lurie starting that to his brother, and just really cool to see like Ben and my family are huge sports. I'm a huge nerd, right? So I'm like the odd guy out, but I love to see something that big also giving back, and so that's really cool that they put that on, and that it really just aligns with our family and the fact that we're in Philadelphia. And so
shout out to the Eagles.
We had a strategy. I mean, I'll tell you, Ben and I think after the last when I did a podcast with you last during the Super Bowl when I was in Tampa, I remember saying to you, "Hey, you are lucky because Ron Jaworski, Philadelphia Eagle legend, does so much to give back. He has this great golf outing, and I really think I can get you there as a volunteer." I remember we had this conversation. I said, "Let's just start with that, make that," and what a great story. I mean, Ben was such a fun day. It was my first golf outings. I had only taken up golf like 3 months earlier, so I took these golf tech lessons. I thought I was really good. I shanked the first hole, the first tee off, and it was not a little bit bad start. Yeah. Then I started to be on a roll, and I ran to Ben. I think it was hole 16, Ben, you're on. And I went, yeah. I was getting ready to my I was getting ready with my driver. I was really ready. I was on a roll, and then as I was hitting, I think Ben saw something that was exciting, and he yelled, and that ball 5-10 yards the other direction, but other than that, it was it was a fun day. And then look, about a week later, if I remember correctly, you got the job as the Eagles operations field, right?
It was
so that was an awesome opportunity.
Unreal. I actually met somebody that night at the party, and I said, "Hey, do you work for the Eagles?" And she goes, "Yes." I said, "I applied for it, and I really want to work there." She goes, "I'll see what I can do." I think she was an angel, but she would have
never know. I mean, she snuck in there and check those applications.
Yeah, but the Eagles leadership team does a great job. Shout out to Norman and I forget the other people.
The staff that help you out
Staff that help me out. Kiki. Kiki does a great job. And Ryan Hammond. Ryan Hammond has a great vision for Eagles autism.
I can't tell you, though, Mike, how many times in preparation for that volunteer event, we said to Ben, all right, Ben, now remember, golf is a quiet game, right? When they're getting ready to go, you got to stay quiet. And we've got some family members that golf, and they really try to emphasize that. But there's only so much we can do.
You need to meet my Uncle John sometime.
I get a lot of ugly shots. That was one of my ugliest, but it's okay. It was all for raising money for a great for George Youth Playbook, great cause, and hey, it happens to all of us. Even the bestest. Even John Daly, I played with yesterday. I was at Johnny Damon's golf outing in Orlando, and I saw John had one that didn't look like a pro shot to me, but he was drinking. John is doing his thing. I don't want to tell all those John Daly stories, but he had a bad hole too. It happens to the best of us.
There you go.
I was gonna say my uncle likes to golf. John can.
Yeah, it's true. He does. Him and his son John Jr.
Our cousin John.
Yeah, they're both golfers for sure.
Yeah,
but definitely more casual, more casual end for sure. So Ben, we always start with 2 questions though, right?
All right.
Let's just start with your first question.
I love Mike. I love taste buds, and I don't know about you, but what's your favorite restaurant to eat at?
I love Cajun food. I was at. I got into town a couple hours ago. We went to LA Live right by the Marriott over here, and I went out to the Yard House. And what do I get? Gumbo, and I got jambalaya. Love that.
Nice.
Yeah, I love spicy food. Ooh, so that's what I love. And I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so I love Italian food. You can tell by the Brooklyn accent. I love my Italian food, but really when I want to go out and splurge, I go for a Cajun.
I love it. And so I'll ask my question next, but for Ben, he's found that's a good way to get to know somebody. And for me, I think one of the good ways to get to know somebody is to figure out or ask what makes them angry. So what's something that makes you upset or something that makes you angry?
A lot of us that do so much like I do, I feel like I multitask. That's what I do the best. But I get frustrated when I can't do as much as I want to do. That's probably when I get really like this week. I have so many events, and I'm a planner, and we all have a little bit of OCD.
Yeah, sure.
And I certainly have it. I have to have my whole schedule. And when things go off the schedule, or I realize that I get, that's when I don't say get angry, but I get definitely discombobulated. So it happens to the best of us. So to answer the question, I think that's really more when things go right. And Kelly, my daughter, she has Asperger's. What happens when Kelly's schedule gets thrown off? She has a meltdown. Yeah. Probably takes after her dad. I'm sure, Ben, you have your moments where things go off schedule and probably not happy Ben anymore, right?
Yep. Yes. Yeah, there used to be we did a couple cross country trips.
Oh God.
And anytime we took a wrong turn,
Dad would be like, "We're home," and then that escalated.
And Ben would freak out. He'd say, this is not home. This is not home." And so he's not that way too much anymore. But definitely, even this morning, we have some times where Ben gets a little frustrated.
And you know what's funny? We drove to California one time.
We did. You're right.
We drove, And I said, "Are we there yet? Is it would have been a far away or far away?"
And what was the answer?
It's far, far away.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah. So Ben, or mom asked Ben, how far did you go? And he said millions and millions of miles.
That's what I said. Geez, there
Well, that sounds like National Lampoon's Vacation. I don't know if you've seen the first movie, but one of my good friends who I'm going to be doing a couple events with this week is Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay.
And one of his first movies was that Chevy Chase
Dang.
movie. And
Yeah.
the son and
It's
Yeah.
Ben's favorite.
no, he wasn't in the Christmas movie. He was in the original movie.
Okay. Okay.
They changed the kids changed who played him. It was kind of weird. You
Yeah.
watching the films like, wait, that's not him. But I guess he didn't get the contract he wanted to do the sequel. I guess, but yeah, no, that movie. It sounds like a trip like you guys would have going cross country and getting to Wally World. And
Oh yeah.
Wally World is shut down and Ben goes crazy and pulls
Yep,
up and
yeah,
John
yep.
Candy on them.
Yeah, we were fortunate. I think there's a couple times where rides were closed, but I don't know if there was a time where a whole place was closed. Can you think of a time on the
Okay.
trip?
No.
Yeah, that's because once again,
Actually, Cedar Point, 2004, we were driving home,
Oh,
and it was actually pouring buckets of rain,
uh-huh.
and we had to leave early.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And see, like, that's why I knew I could ask Ben, because Ben knows all the dates, he knows all the times. And so I tell people that Ben is an encyclopedia of my mistakes. Because anytime
let you
I
look
did something
down.
wrong, Ben goes, "Remember, Dan? In April of 2016 on the 4th, you did this thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess I did."
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Ben, do you want to ask the next question?
Yeah. So I heard that you played football with Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 2 weeks. When the dream
less than 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. I think it was like 11 days, if I remember correctly.
There
I have
you
a
go.
I have an encyclopedia of knowledge too, and I remember. But what was cool about it was like when they subsidized where I was staying because I didn't have a job then, and
Yeah.
we stayed in basically month-to-month apartment rentals,
Yeah. Right.
and they were able to carry that until I was able to land on my feet. So that was a class act by the Glazer organization.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay is definitely one of the classiest organizations
Yeah. It's amazing.
around to do that for somebody who, again, I was just glad to get the opportunity. Unfortunately, it was damaged goods. That's what happens in football.
Yeah.
Is now these days you get ACL tear, you get back in the field, but back in 1993 to 1995 in that era, I got this thing called I got a cadaver graft. There's two kinds of operations you can have, and the cadaver graft that you get back quicker, but the stability of your joint is not as good. So I took a shortcut, and unfortunately, I should probably gone for having some graft in my hamstring, and there was other kind of ways to do the surgery, but I wanted to get back. I rushed, lesson learned, trying to get back, and unfortunately, but then I tried professional wrestling. That didn't last too long. 4 days, I think. I went to Atlanta to try out and take some bumps with the big wrestling guys, and I got dropped on my head on my
Dang.
What?
day. I didn't tuck my head. You're supposed to tuck your head when you get slammed. They didn't tell me
Yeah.
do gymnastics. I'm from Brooklyn.
No
Yeah. Right.
I took my
That's
head
crazy.
and I took a stinger, and I almost didn't wake. It was a pretty scary when you can't feel your legs.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, boxing. I mean, I tried. I wanted to be a professional athlete, and
Yeah.
I was lucky to revitalize my career and do something in banking. Which
So Mike, what was your experience like when your dream was over? Right? What was your feeling like in your inside with your emotions? Because we talk about emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
I think I was driven. I was a driven person. Like we talk about OCD, right? So when I had a goal, nothing was going to set me back from achieving that goal. I transferred colleges a couple of times because I didn't want to play. I didn't want to sit on a bench. I transferred 3 times in college, and that's what. But opportunity happened for me. I was sitting there in the summer of '93. I graduated Albany a summer late because I had my credits didn't transfer over, and the Albany Firebirds football team there had a need for somebody to fill in because of injuries, right?
Yeah.
And I got that opportunity. So things happen for a reason. I've learned in life that things happen. Some of these misfortunes, as we call them, there's a reason for it. Even 9/11, people say, "Oh, you're so unlucky." I don't know about unlucky or not. I'm lucky because I survived.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to help others. So I don't look at that as a misfortune. I look at that as a fortune. So you got to look at things, put a positive spin on life. And sometimes you look back at things at a time, the end of the world. Oh my God, I can't play football. I can't play. Or but then you can look at it as an opportunity, a door that's going to open.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And we had a guest on our last show, and family friend of ours, but he had some like just crazy life situations in which like he lost some family members, and then he went through like 3 bouts of cancer. So just like these crazy things. And he had a very similar take on it, in which he was like, those things formed me into the person I am now. And that, allowed him to be who he is. And so,
Don't you love Forrest Gump? I mean, that Forrest Gump movie is like, that's,
I love Forrest Gump.
Man, you're Forrest Gump. You're in all these different places. And when Las Vegas happened, I got a lot of people saying, man, I don't want to be in the same room as you, Mike. Because you were in 9/11, but I wasn't at the concert. I don't like country.
Okay.
I mean, thank God I didn't like country music. I was at the Mandalay Bay at the hotel when that shooting happened, but it was still a pretty scary situation. What was funny is I didn't even know what was going on, quite frankly, because I didn't know it was a concert. I didn't know what Route 91 even meant. I'm not a country music person, so I was there to film a show of one of my good buddies, Brett Raymer, has a show on Animal Planet called Tanked. It was a great show where he would build aquariums for celebrities, and I was out there filming that show that weekend. Happened to be there, and I was going to Scott Baio's charity golf event the next day in Los Angeles. So I had a mission to get from point A to point B, and somehow in the meantime, 10 o'clock, hell erupted. And it's a very unfortunate, scary situation, but helped out a lot of the victims, survivors of that tragedy with their fund to help the people who really had real injuries, traumatic injuries, and help them from what I went through with 9/11. So
you already brought it up, which is great. I was just gonna touch on it for a little bit, but that like the joke, right, of I don't want to be in the same room as you. Like I thought on the same lines. It's like, man, you gotta hear that all the time because people, I'm sure, make that joke to you all the time. But what, like, how do you process like difficult things now? So like both of those events, right? Maybe the Mandalay Bay one, since you weren't like necessarily in that exact concert, but 9/11, like that's a pretty intense thing to be in. So how do you process hard situations now?
It's called PTSD. We all, 9/11. I don't think that term was really a buzzword that we used back then. I mean, obviously, going through the 9/11 tragedy, I was injured that day. It was hospitalized. It was kind of a fear that my life was going to end at one point when I'm in the hospital outside, very loud, thinking it could have been a nuclear bomb. Texting me. So what was going on at that day 11 was like pretty much it was pretty so but yeah, it was PTSD in Las Vegas. I think since I've been through, I kind of maybe handled it, but still something that brought back a lot of flashbacks and a lot of bad memories and processing that. But then to think, well, how can I help? And that was like put my energy into something positive rather than negative. No, that's definitely what you have to do, and especially in settings, especially we talked about it with Matt Weintraub when he was on, but we talked about how with media it's so much easier to talk about the like negative piece or the negative side of things, and that's really what you feel like you see a lot of, and it's really good, I think, to do what you can to show the positive light. Or just try to take something and say, okay, let's not focus entirely on the negative. How can we focus on some of the positive?
And one bite at a time from an elephant.
Yep, that's what he said. Because I asked him how he processed things, and he said you can't eat a whole elephant in one sitting. You have to eat it one bite at a time. And so that's for sure.
Sometimes you have to do things that are hard in order to do the things that you love.
Yeah, very true, Ben. Very true. So Ben, you got a question, right?
I do. So. You have a special needs daughter named Kelly, and you have the Dads and Daughters show. So, advice for other parents. So, what would you say to give advice for parents out there who have a child with special needs, or for you to help people understand your show better?
I think being an advocate means being educated about what your child has. And I had to read the whole book. I read 10 books, 20 books, and I wanted to educate myself on what her rights were with schools going through an IEP. Individualized education plan, so that I knew Kelly was getting the best of what she needed to go get through school. And I had to be up there and be the dad that was always up in school and making these 1-hour meetings, IEP meetings, into 10-hour meetings, and they feared me. I think the school board system, because they knew I knew the rule book on what her rights were, the handbook was, and what she was supposed to be getting in terms of. So I encourage, for example, there's a process when you turn 18 to become what's called guardianships. I'm our legal guardian.
Yeah.
A lot of parents, I can't tell you how many people I know that have children with more severe disabilities than Kelly, and they don't even know about it. I'm like, well, it's out there. You have to read up on it. And you do it before they're 18, it doesn't cost really anything. You get a free lawyer. But if you do it after 18, you can pay tens of thousands of dollars. So again, it's a matter of knowing the process and educating yourself, because then you're doing a child a disservice, honestly, because you need to prepare them for life skills.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to do, is transition her to become an adult.
Yeah.
She's 19 now. So.
Yeah. I don't call it a joke, but Ben jokes with me. We call it Dan School. And so I work with Ben and I help him with those exact things, those independent goals. And I said, when we started, I said, Ben, you're a kid right now, and when you graduate dance school,
it's Goo Goo Gaga.
Yeah, you said you're Goo Goo Gaga. And I said, you'll be an adult when you graduate, because my mindset is there are so many things that are required of being an adult, and I think Ben is capable of doing 78% of those things. And the other 22% you can pay someone to do, like, your taxes, those kind of things. There's all these services that you can have someone help you with those kind of processes. But there's a lot that I know Ben is capable of.
And that's why our mission and our value of our company is to be the one,
right?
Be out there, be kind.
Yeah. That's the goal. And so it all starts with your knowledge. I think you're right. I think that's the key piece there, is for parents and families who don't know, then there's no starting point, right? And if there's no starting point, then there's no journey at all. And I think the biggest thing that I experienced is I've had friends who definitely were somewhere on the spectrum, but because they weren't severe, their parents didn't want to attach a stigma to their child. And then I think in the long run, that's actually hurt that person's development. And so, I think you're totally right on that point.
A lot of it's giving a child the confidence. What Ben has is a lot of confidence. He's very comfortable with himself, who he is. And, I wanted to give Kelly that platform. When I did the Dads and Daughters show, we don't do it anymore. We did 24 episodes. It was during the pandemic. I was home and I was traveling.
Yeah, sure, right.
Doing these shows that you guys know how much work this is to do.
Yeah.
But we had a great 24 episodes, and it was gave Kelly more a platform, confidence to get on camera, to things that she wouldn't ordinarily do. And I think it's great what you're doing, Ben. And I think you're a great role model for her. So keep doing what you're doing, but more that you get confidence out there. Like when you went to Jaworski's event, I didn't have to walk with you. You did it all on your own. Everything you did was
that's
you,
that's
not
how you call
me.
me, the networking man.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I say it all the time, but one of the biggest reasons and one of the things I like the most about the company that Ben started is he gets a network for himself now. I think for a long time he was networking for other people, which is great and always needed. But I wanted Ben's direct actions to affect him. And so now, all the connections he makes and all that kind of stuff that he really enjoys, he gets to do for himself.
Ben's a celebrity. I mean, when I saw Ben at the Jaworski event, I said, I don't care about Doug Peterson. I want a picture with Ben. I don't care about the other guys.
Dan, you should come.
I love it.
You should come.
I love it. Yeah, Ben. Maybe I'll have to help with the next one, right?
Actually, we should be a sponsor for the event.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Right.
We'll have to get a couple more schools there, I think, before we're ready to do that.
That's what I'm thinking.
But actually, I'm a little bummed this year because
Philly.
the Jaworski event this year is unfortunately the weekend of my boxing match. I'm doing a charity boxing match with Jerry Cooney for his fight night in Hoboken, so I can go to the parents' party, but the golf is the same day, and I don't think playing golf and preparing for a boxing match goes together. So I may have to skip the golf this year, but I will be at the pre-event, the parents' party. And I can't drink because I have to be in shape to go 3 rounds, which may not seem like a lot, but for me,
that's a lot. Yeah,
50 years old. It's tough at this age. I mean, so I'm sparring now in there with kids like half my age. I'm getting beat up even with the headgear. It hurts.
Yeah. And people don't realize the cardio that goes into that. This cardio is crazy. And so
I got trained by a guy named Irish Mickey Ward. I worked with him last year and he'll be in my corner for fight night. But Mickey put me through like 7 rounds of real and gassed me out to show me what. And I think what he was trying to show me is, hey, if I can do 7 rounds in the ring with him, hitting hits, I can go 3 rounds. And that was really just to give me the confidence. But it was reverse psychology because I was ready to quit. He kept pushing me, and he kept kind of like the Irish thing, But you gotta keep going. And,
I love it. I love it.
Yep. It's kind of like Rocky, like you're like in that match ring or that Wii boxing. Remember the Wii boxing?
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I will tell you, I spent a little bit of time at a friend's in Alabama, and he was a youth pastor at this church. I think he actually still is youth pastor there. But one morning he woke me up at like 6 a.m. I'm like, "What, Caleb? What are we doing?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna go work out." And I was like, "Oh, all right, sounds good." And so we go over to the church, and there's this. I want to say, I know for sure he was 70. I think he was 72-year-old man. And he starts leading this workout. And I kid you not, the hardest exercise I've ever done. And like we're doing all these crunches, all these workouts.
That's
like
what you
workouts
make me do.
Yeah, workouts I've never seen. I now make Ben do, but I've never seen some of them before. Yeah. And at the end, I'm like, Caleb, like, what's that guy's story? And he's like, well, he was actually a boxing partner for Muhammad Ali.
What? You never told me that story, Dan.
And so he like was in the the same group, and he was a partner of. And so I don't know if it was for a year or for 2 weeks. I have no clue what the length of time it was. But man, 72, he ran laps around me, and so it's a whole different league for sure.
Well, a couple of years ago, I started doing yoga. Believe it or not, I was a wrestler named Diamond Dallas Page that I had met in my brief wrestling time back in the mid 90s, and Diamond Dallas Page does DDP yoga.
Okay.
And we actually have the NFL alumni now get it for free, which is great, helping out guys that it's tough, all the injuries we get, but this yoga is high intensity yoga. It's not for it's not that other kind of yoga. This yoga really puts you through a workout and stretches and balance and things. I fall on my face sometimes doing this stuff, but it really helps because part of the reason I can do boxing at this age, because you would think with 2 ACL reconstructive surgeries, I couldn't do anything on this knee, but I feel fine. I don't want to say I'll always feel that way, but the yoga, but he put me through some crazy workouts. I went down to Atlanta, went to his little studio, and it's intense. And it was like an hour workout. And I felt like I was there for 4 hours. So
dang.
It's and he's like 60 something. I'm going to say 65 years old now.
Dang, yeah.
Page, and he just wrestled, I think, about 4 months ago. Went up the top rope and did some crazy move.
Dang.
All because he's in great shape. He's really, he's turning back the hands of time right now with what he's doing and helping a lot of people. The stories, if you go on ddpyoga.com, you'll see the incredible stories.
Yeah.
Transformation stories that DDP has done for military veterans and athletes, and it's just an incredible thing. So that's inspiring. I need to make him one of your guests.
There you go. That'd be huge. Yeah, we'd love that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a question in this same vein, and it's great because our conversation has been a lot about
same vein.
The same vein, yeah.
Oh, I like it.
But the charities and the events, there's clearly a passion for that, right, Mike? Like just by the talking at this conversation alone. So what's the passion behind there? Like why get involved in your opinion?
It's to help. I'll tell you what, I tell people, I think the relationships I've made over the years is just I don't get paid for doing the stuff I do. Charity is about giving your time and it's to me the compensation piece of it never factored in. I started doing work with the Yankees. I helped out Hank Steinbrenner with his Hank's Yanks program, underprivileged kids. I ran the golf outing a couple times. I don't get paid for that. I do it, I'm hanging out with a lot of guys that are my idols growing up, right? But I'm helping. I know I'm helping kids, and that gives me the energy. For me, it's not about getting a couple $1,000s or getting paid on that stuff. Even when I'm doing Friday night helping with this alumni party, I don't get paid for that, but I'm here. I'm having the time of my life. I'm giving back and only helping others. We have charities that are benefiting from it, and the chapters itself, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love it.
So I have a question for you. Who is your role model, and who did you look up to, like as your role model?
Yeah,
I'll tell you the story. Baseball. I'm gonna shift gears. I know you're football. We're gonna go to baseball here. Ron Guidry was a New York Yankee pitcher in the 70s. He had a 25-3 season in 1978. My first year watching baseball.
Dang.
1978. Way before you're born, Ben. But he was called Louisiana Lightning. I mean, he was a guy that I watched, and I was like, couldn't believe what a small guy, skinny, and he had the most amazing seasons. So he was always a person I looked up to. I got to meet him, fortunately, 20 years later, doing the charity work that I'm doing, and became friends with him. And I always wore number 49 when I started playing baseball with the Yankees in these tournaments. I wore number 49, and I never wore any other number.
Okay.
And we became very close. And I actually said to him one time, we call him Gator. I said, Gator, hope I did justice to your number. He goes, yeah, you did a good job, Mike, with my number.
I love it.
I love it.
And that relationship. So he was really somebody who was a role model for me.
Yeah.
Great guy, on the field, off the field, an example. And he connected me with Yogi Berra. I got to hang out with Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra. Yeah.
Dang.
And I got to spend a lot of time with Yogi Berra in the last 3 or 4 years of his life. And Yogi, his Yogiisms were a classic. And I got to spend so much time with him.
That's amazing.
He became like another grandfather to me. And Yogi, and that was all through Gator. So very privileged to have had these relationships by chance. And sometimes the people you meet, your idols, they overexceed, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I read a book on the ones that were, but we're not going to say that. It's a whole nother show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I get that for sure, and that's always so good to hear. And I think it's a great question, Ben, the role model, because I think sometimes we have guests, and there are people that look up to you, Mike. And it's weird to think about that in the sense that, like, oh, I'm in this position now that somebody else was in at some point where they were my role model. Maybe I'm a role model now. And so I love that question because it can kind of bring, full train back.
Yeah.
Something that I'm interested in, and I'm wondering, because you're right now at the Super Bowl doing Radio Row. And obviously you've got so much going on. You're doing all these different things, all these different charity events. How, as with Ben, right, there's a lot more hands-on work, and I'm sure Kelly is the same way. How do you manage the work, the free time, the family?
It's tough. I mean, it's a balance, and I've always said I never want to, you're going to occasionally miss something, an event, but cheer, that's their passion. They do cheer events, and I don't think I've maybe one time missed in, 5-6 years, one of their cheer events, but for the most part, I usually leave the Super Bowl Saturday morning. This is the first year they don't have a cheer event coming up this weekend. It's supposed to be a week later this year, thank God.
Wow.
So I get to actually stay for the weekend, which is rare for me because I usually leave on Saturday morning so I can make the cheer event. And I'm on no sleep, but I can't function, but I make it. Because you don't want to miss those events. And that's what I've always said is don't miss something. But there's also, back to your question, there's times when, you have to be 24/7 where even last night, where was I in Orlando? And I had to get up at 4 a.m. this morning. And I'm tired right now for that. But, I got a text from her like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to respond to it. So I woke me up out of a sleep and I paid for it later. But that's just what you do as a parent. And that's just the balance is always making sure you're there 24/7. Thank God we have phones.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done 20, 30 years ago before the invention of iPhones.
Yeah.
Or Mac computers, I like the DOS computers going up.
Well, I would say our mom feels the same way, Mike. So mom has Life 360, the app, and it on Ben's phone. And so anytime Ben's driving, she's always checking to make sure, did he get where he needs to go, all that kind of stuff.
Or
funny, Kelly just invited me to that app. I actually have that. I just installed that. I don't know how it works yet, but she did send me an invite.
Yeah,
I got to learn about that. It might be a cool thing. But she's not driving yet, so I don't think I need to worry too much.
Yeah, there you go.
But soon enough, it'd be nice to know wherever she goes. Hey, you're in supermarket or something. I can follow her around. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah, our mom loves it. She always wants me to put it on my phone. I'm like, sorry, mom, can't do that. So as a parent, right, with someone on the spectrum, and since it's such a broad spectrum. But what's something that's really worked for you that you think might help somebody else?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question because I think every child is different, how they react to things. I think just the patience there's times when it's called shutdown mode. I'm sure, Ben, you probably had a couple of moments where you were in shutdown mode.
Yes.
And it can be very extreme episodes and you have to know how to handle it. And it can be in public. It could be very embarrassing where you get the looks from parents and other people that don't understand your plight, and you just have to ignore it and do what's best for your child. I had a couple of years ago, Myrtle Beach. I don't know what it set her off, but something really bad, and it was a complete meltdown. And there people were watching, staring, and I had to contain my anger because I wanted to snap because I was frustrated. Right. I'm handle it, and somebody's walking over, but you got to stay focused and help your child, and those things do happen. So I think patience. Is something you have to have. If you don't have that kind of some people, you have to step up as a special needs parent. And I do a lot of autism dad conferences. We started this Autism Dads Network a few years back.
Wow.
Because there was always a focus, not just on the dad's piece of it, because we have a lot of responsibilities a lot of times too. And in my case, I do a lot with her. So I have to really make sure that I'm understanding what others are going through. Because I think I'm going through this, but all the same issues I struggle with, other people are going through. So hearing perspectives from others that are going through similar, just like 9/11. I mean, I didn't want to go see a psychologist one-on-one. I wasn't how I was brought up, but I used to go to peer groups where I would meet other survivors and other people that had experiences, shared experiences, so they could relate. I could relate. I could talk to them where I could not talk to family members about what I went through. So I think having that shared perspective with other parents has helped me a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Where I'm saying, man, why does Kelly do this? Or I can now understand it and say it's not so bad.
That's so true. I do some work with other special needs adults, and I had a client for a while who was much older. But I tell Ben all the time, like, that client did a lot of the same things that Ben does. And so in some ways that was actually good for me to see, because I was like, okay, some of the things that Ben does is not just Ben, right? Like, it's not just him like trying to get under my skin, right? It's like that's actually Ben, how he operates. And I think you're so right, because there's even times too where I'll get frustrated and I'll lose my cool.
Me too.
But it's all about that, and it's about having those connections, I think, for sure.
We have 2 comments on there.
Yeah, we do. Everyone is being very, very kind, saying great show, which is awesome. We really appreciate that.
Shout out to Shabuka.
Is a good friend of yours, right?
Yeah, he says, what an amazing show. Live show.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So you do some public speaking, right?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to speak about my story, 9/11. I've talked about a little bit about my journey from the locker room to what I do now. I think that's it's a lot of bumps along the way. My journey was not, it had a lot of bumps and bruises. Literally in the boxing ring, I'll have some more bruises.
Sure.
But I think it's a story that can hopefully inspire some people too, because I want to live out. I told you about the Ron Guidry story with baseball, so I always want to be a Yankee baseball player, right? So that was like the real thing. Football, I love football, but let me tell you, baseball was really my sport. I got to play it in college, shoulder, torn labrum. I couldn't throw from third base anymore. So unfortunately, I didn't play. I didn't go to professionals like I wanted to do, right? As I followed the football dream, which didn't go that far either. But but years later, I got the opportunity to play with the Yankees on these these camps. And I got this privilege on Father's Day. It was for a friend of mine, Brian Doyle, who played for the Yankees, had Parkinson's disease. We were doing an old timers day to honor Brian, and I was just going to come there as a guest. Well, I ended up playing in the game as a Yankee legend, and I got a hit off Jeff Nelson, 4-time World Series champion.
Dang.
It was Father's Day, full house, 12,000 people out there, and it was a 2-2 pitch. He could have struck me out, but I got one. It was a low pitch down the middle, and I thought I got all of it. Honestly, when I hit it, I had that home run trot going, and it landed in center field. It was a legit hit, but I thought I had all of it. But
right.
But Nelly, I give him a hard time, the pitcher, because I see him all the time. I'm like, I get the hit off you. I'm 1 for 1 in my major league career, but it was a cool feeling. I mean, I was a Yankee for a day. Given the kind of the respect in the locker room, and it was one of those moments that I lived my dream. And then last year, I finally fulfilled the other half of it, was Field of Dreams. I want to take my dad. I love that movie, Kevin Costner. So I'm like, well, I got to get to the game, not just to the game to watch the Yankees and White Sox. That's part of it, but want to have that last catch. Want to make sure. But the last thing I did on the baseball field at 49 years old, which was that number I wore for Ron Guidry, number 49. It was a symbolism there. I didn't want to play at 50 years old. I'm like, I'm too old to play at 50. I want to play as long as I can at 49 years old. So that was my strategy. And a time that the game was August 12th. My birthday was August 14th, when I turned 50.
Dang.
I get into this into the game the day before with my father, because I knew Dwyer Brown, who played the dad, Kevin Costner's dad in the movie, got in there. But that wasn't as special. We got to do a little bit throwing the ball around, but it was crowded. And it wasn't what I was looking for. The day after the game, I said, Dad, let's go down to the field again. And we got to go in the stadium again one more time. It was really cool. And we got to have that catch privately. It was on the field. It was videoed. I got video of it. And then a game started, a pickup game, which is what Field of Dreams is all about. It's in Iowa. People go on the field, and it was construction workers. One guy was, by the way, it was Rocco from Philly. So you love that, Ben. He was the guy that Rocco from Philly was like the guy who organized the crew that put up the field. It was like 100 yards away from the actual site of the movie.
Dang.
And these guys were starting to play a game. I'm in center field checking some fly balls. And I said, guys, can I have one last round? And it was the seventh pitch. And I got it into the cornfields. And I got that on video.
Dang.
So I got the video of that. And I'm like, I'll never play baseball ever again because I don't even have a catch. If
right.
If you ask me to have a catch with you, I can't do it because my last catch was with my dad. My last hit was a home run.
Yeah.
Can't mess with that. That storyline was perfect. So the boxing ring in June, I wouldn't say it's a knockout, but I want to be able to stand. I want to go to distance like Rocky, right? In the first movie of Creed. I just want to go to distance.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And not get knocked down or knocked out. So, but it would.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, Dan, I love baseball. I don't know if I can tell you, but I love all sports. I love basketball, baseball. What I love about baseball is hitting the ball.
Yeah, all of that,
and throwing that pitch.
Yeah,
I remember backyard baseball, backyard football.
Yeah, those games.
Those games
too.
Computer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ben, what's something that you love though that you really enjoy?
You know what I love doing?
What?
I love singing the national anthem.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you do a great job.
Yeah, he did that at what, Ben?
Last week at the Pennsbury game.
Yeah, so
that's
true.
Awesome.
So true.
Yeah, if the Yankees ever need me to sing, let me know.
Well, being a Phillies fan, I don't know if you're allowed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Yankees might want him, but he might not be able to come home after that. You know?
Yeah, I don't think the Phillies would allow a Yankee fan to sing the national anthem. I know you guys can be pretty. The old Vet Stadium was pretty rough on people from New York, by the way. They were really brutal. So they even threw snowballs at Santa Claus one year. I remember.
So I remember that story.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember. I read an article. It was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and it was a little video, and it was like, Philadelphia is the only town that destroys their town when they win.
Exactly. Yeah, the city of brotherly love. Sometimes they're not so brotherly. I know.
Yeah, funny. Exactly.
I remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I got out to my car and honked the horn. And people going nuts.
Yeah. What's a cool thing that you got to do that was a dream that you got to do when they won the Super Bowl?
I got to carry the trophy and be on the Ellen show.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm hoping to go on that one more time.
Yeah, he's hoping to get on again. But yeah, it's all about, like you said with the baseball, it's all about those dreams, right? It's all about having that goal.
Yeah.
I think that's the key point there. Like if you don't have some kind of thing to walk towards or to aim for, right? I think the saying is if you have nothing to aim for, you always miss, right?
Yep.
And so having that goal, I think Ben is really good at that. I think
he is. Ben is very goal driven. What I was trying to coach Ben during the process is don't go too far here. You got to go from. You can't go from to a home run all the time. Sometimes a single to a double to a triple to a home run. So the Jaworski event was a lever. I said, let's start small. Before you start working for Roger Goodell. You can work for Roger Goodell one day, but let's start with something reasonable. And that was great. That's how we worked together to get. And now, look, I mean, you might be the next NFL commissioner.
So I love it.
Well, my dream for the NFL, and I'm hoping this really does happen. I love 32 teams and all NFL players, alumni, and coaches, and ownerships to actually wear blue on April 2nd.
Yeah,
and
that's the goal.
My dream is to actually take all of us to change that, and I would love to see if they can do more inclusion and stuff for more people with disabilities.
Yeah, it's all about that awareness. But yeah, I think you're right, Mike. I think it's a great piece of advice, especially in the goal realm, right? Because I think we had a kid at one of the schools that Ben spoke at, and he asked, what do you do when you have so many goals? And Ben was, you kind of got to pick one and aim for that one. But I think you're right. It's not even necessarily aim for that one goal. It's okay. If that's my end goal, that is step 10, right? What's step number 1? And that might be in Ben's case, the Jaworski event. And I think that's some really solid advice. Starting at
done pretty well. I mean, I've seen Ben rolling with some real heavy hitters. I'm pretty jealous when I see some of these pictures on Facebook. So
I know
pretty well. So
I know I met a football player at J.C. Penney's.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. He had a Tampa Bay shirt on, and I said, "Hey, go Eagles!" And he goes, I played for the Eagles for a week."
Oh.
Oh, well, okay. I played a little. At least I played 4 more days than he did.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah, exactly.
I forget his name. Exactly. I said, "Can we take a picture?" And he goes, "Yeah, we'll take a selfie."
That's funny.
That is too funny. I love it. So in that same vein of trying things or goal setting, what advice would you give someone who's like at that step one.
Actually,
right?
I was going to say, are you nervous when you speak?
Oh yeah, we can ask that question too. Sure.
Yeah, good.
I had a fear of public speaking, and I'm like Ben. I know Ben. You couldn't talk till you were what 3-4
when I
years
was
old,
3, and now today just talk, and there's
now you can't stop talking. I was the same way.
button on
I
me.
was actually very shy at one point, but you know, you got to find your voice, and I think the tragedy that happened with 9/11 kind of forced me. I was forced into situations where I had to get on camera. I was interviewed by a news station,
Yeah.
and I stuttered a couple times. I mean, I didn't know what was going on, but then I just got through it, and I think once I got comfortable. Became the other extreme where I always wanted to find a camera.
Yeah,
I love cameras.
But no, I think that was something that, I mean, you got to find your voice. And not everybody can be catapulted into something where they're the face of something. They maybe want to be behind the scenes, but no, I mean, I was definitely had to overcome my fears of being on so I enjoy, like, you know, I could go on stage for 5 hours.
I love it.
I can do this all night if you wanted to have
I love it. You know what my favorite commercial is?
What?
Speaking of speaking, like Rob goes, "Hi, this is Rob Gronkowski from Nationwide Insurance."
You like that one?
He goes, "Number 87."
Why you like that one?
Because he lies at the end.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Yeah,
we
you
definitely.
You send your best to him. I'm going to see him Friday. I'll let him know you like the commercial.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell him to wear blue on April 2nd.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to see. Actually, I'm playing football in about it's 2:48 in California at 4:00. I have to start getting ready to go play flag football with Snoop Dogg.
Dang.
And his All Stars, and we're raising money for his charity, and also Sierra Delta. They raise money for service animals for veterans.
Dang.
It's a great
That's
charity.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wounded Warriors, and we have a couple guys. One of them, Dave Stevens, no legs. He's a speaker. You should look up Dave Stevens Speaks.com. Read up on his story. Amazing. I'm going to see him tomorrow at Radio Row, and man, 40 years he's been doing this, and just an inspiration to what he's accomplished. But BJ Ganem, who's running the Sierra Delta charity, they do this flag football thing every year. I'm just honestly afraid of getting hurt. You know, I have this boxing match in 4 months or so. And, you know, sometimes playing flag football, you could either easily pop an ACL. So I may just going for like 10 plays.
Yeah, sure.
And then say somebody else who's younger can.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you've got a different goal that you're aiming for, right?
I love
exactly.
Yeah. Dreams. Now, Mike, I have a question. Who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl?
Oh.
I'm torn. I'll tell you what, Anthony Munoz is a very good friend of mine. He was a Bengals Hall of Fame tackle, and I see Anthony a lot. So and I know Ickey Woods, but the Rams, Torrey Holt. I mean, I know Torrey lives in Raleigh near me. We're neighbors, practically neighbors. I support his charity. And,
I love it.
And it was kind of funny. I mean, the backstory, I could share this now, but I had to root against the Bucs when the Rams played them because Gronk wouldn't be hosting our party if the Bucs went to the game. So that third, fourth quarter when Brady came back, I was having a heart attack. I'm like, no, Tom, don't do this to us. We need Gronk. And it was, and I also wanted to see the Rams. I thought it was a great storyline with their quarterback, with Stafford. I think this is a great, I hope that, but you know what? Whoever wins, it'll be a great game. You know, and that's what it's all about. There's no losers.
Yeah, for sure.
LSU Jamal Chase is really good. Joe Burrow is like, it's like a Nick Foles type of guy.
Who are you rooting for, Ben?
I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Steelers, but don't tell anybody I said that on the air because of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
But, I really love the Bengals because I think they never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
so rooting for the underdog.
I think they have underdogs like the Eagles, and I feel like
spread the wins around a little bit. Is that what you're thinking about? Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna watch because we're gonna have it on. But like I said, I'm definitely more the nerd. But
it's funny. I actually record the game, so like me, somebody was asking me about the game. I said whether I go or not this year, if I'm in a suite, I don't really get to watch the game.
Yeah, true.
When I watch a game, I need to watch on TV. I'm looking at formations. I'm looking at things that a former player is going to look for.
Yeah.
And so I'm a nerd when it comes to watching a game, and I can't really enjoy it from the stands or from a suite. So for me, really watching it, it's like game film. That's what I love to do. Analyze, dissect. I could look at the linemen or how they're lined up or whatever. I love that part of it. So I'm recording it. I record it every year. I'm going to probably watch it for the next couple of weeks. And try to learn more. I'm a
I
student
love
of the
watching
game.
Super
I
Bowl.
like to learn more about the game. I learn a lot of stuff about the game. I haven't coached. I mean, my girls are cheerleaders and obviously not football players, but I just love the strategy part of the game and the coaching. Marv Levy and some other Ditka, who I hope to see Thursday at a cigar event. I love talking coaching strategy. Well, what did he do in the this game or that game? That's the stuff I love.
Yeah. When we saw the movie
Invincible,
not Invincible. Well, the most recent one.
Oh, actually, the Zachary Levi is called American Underdog.
Yeah,
Kurt
I'm
Warner.
Gonna see Kurt Warner. Wait, I'm going to see Kurt Warner in about an hour and a half. So I'll let him know you saw his movie.
Yes, let him know. Let him know. We actually we tried to get him on the show.
Yes,
but they told us he's a busy guy. He's
a busy guy right now. Yeah, this week's tough for him, but maybe next week we'll get him.
Yeah,
no,
it's one of those
he's
things.
a great guy.
Great
I've heard
guy.
so
really
many
cool
things
story.
about him. And he does a lot with special needs too. He's a Christian.
He is. I met him in 2000, and his story. Arena football very similar. He made it. I at least try to follow the same path, but what he did was incredible. I mean, so that story was very authentic. I think they did a good job on it. And Kurt and Brenda, I've known them for I feel old, 22 years now. So it's reunion I'm going to have. Well, I see him every year, but we always compare. Like, here's the pictures of us from like 20 something years ago, and still look pretty good. We think we look pretty good for our age.
Yeah, for sure.
Less hair, but it's all good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What's up, Ben?
I was gonna say no, it's not.
What?
I was gonna say about Kurt Warner.
What about it?
He should wear blue on April 2nd.
Yeah, he should. Well, you're gonna try to get as many people as you can.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought the movie up was that I think that was my first taste. At the end, you see they're running plays and they're talking about the offense of the Rams, and I really realized it's like, wow, like the stress and strategy that go into being the guy in the box who says, all right, this play's next. Like, yikes. I can't imagine that stress level of it's 3D chess. Like you're trying to think 6 moves ahead, and you're trying to think, okay, we ran this, so we got to run this next play. And for me, that was kind of an eye-opening moment where I was like, whoa, like there's so much thought that goes into this.
And who calls the plays? A lot of times, some quarterbacks call their own plays, and some coaches would not allow that. So Tom Landry with Roger Staubach, they used to fight all the time about who would call the plays. Tom Landry was a very strict coach, and it's always an interesting thing to see who's calling the plays. He called the audibles as a quarterback. Is he allowed to call that? A lot of coaches, Ditka used to hate Jim McMahon for Jim never followed what Coach Ditka told him to do. Jim would do his own thing. He still does his own thing. Jimmy's one of my good friends, Jimmy Mack, I call him, and he's a free spirit. And when Jimmy saw something that he didn't care what, and he usually was successful in what he was doing, but Ditka would still yell at him on the sideline, and Jimmy was like, "Man, I just threw a touchdown. Well, why are you yelling at me?" But he never followed what the coach told him to do. But
yeah, that's a whole different level of skill for sure.
I was gonna say, what's your favorite Super Bowl memory? Like your favorite Super Bowl game? My favorite Super Bowl memory would have to be the Eagles. But what's your favorite Super Bowl memory?
I meant to say, just because I was there at Giants Ravens in 2001, I had an incredible experience down in the field. I mean, just the whole experience itself was so priceless. The whole week. That's why I don't really, honestly, when the game, I went last year. I was fortunate to go to the game last minute, but I've only been in 2 Super Bowls, and I'm not driven about going to the game. I'm here for the week of events leading up to it. So such a great time I had that I didn't want to mess. It was so hard to top that moment 2001, and I'm like, why mess with perfection? So kind of like why I never play baseball again. It's like I can't mess with that memory. So that for me, the Super Bowl was so a couple times I've gone, and for me those memories are great. It means I have to experience the game is something I can watch. I can tell you that the probably the game I watched as a kid was the Cowboys Steelers with Terry Bradshaw. It was like 35-31. There were some incredible Super Bowls over the years that I've watched, but yeah, definitely for me personally, being at the experience itself, probably that first Giants Ravens. Giants got blasted 34-7, but just being around all those guys the whole week, and that's where I hung out with Kurt Warner mostly that week. Was Bruce Smith's party. We had some fun times back then. So hopefully this week will be good too. I hope.
Yeah, it's hopefully another good Super Bowl week. It's crazy, but we're at that 5 minutes left mark, which is insane. The time
I thought
is
we're going
flown.
for 5 more hours.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you're
right. You're right. You know, 5.
We know another hour.
You guys got to give me some money ready to check. I'm gonna go. But...
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But I want to always do what I can to give the last 5 minutes to our guest and just kind of open it up to your experience and anything that maybe you wanted to share that we didn't get to. So I'll give you that time now. The red carpet is yours.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I think this week, talk about some of the events I'm doing, and I talked a little bit about the flag football game I'm going to be participating in, hopefully not tear my ACL.
Yeah, exactly.
In about an hour and a half. It's a great cause for helping wounded warriors, and some of the causes around providing service animals for veterans, wounded veterans. Incredible. That's then tomorrow night we're doing a great comedy fundraiser.
Oh, cool.
Ed Too Tall Jones, Larry Centers, Christopher Reed.
Yeah.
Kid and Play doesn't have the same hair anymore. He lost a little bit of that on the top, but that's an incredible charity event. We're raising money for a local charity here in helping disadvantaged kids in Los Angeles. So we have that tomorrow night. Thursday is one of my favorite Ditka cigars. Ditka, it's the cigar event we do. I don't smoke cigars, but I just like to be around Jaws with Ron Jaworski, your buddy.
I know, it was very fun seeing all the people with the
and
cigars.
Coach Ditka. But it's really raised money for Gridiron Greats, which I've been part of for many, many years, helping retired players with traumatic head injuries and some of their needs. And it's a fantastic. So what Coach Ditka has done for the legacy of players after the game is incredible. Probably better than any Super Bowl victory he had in 1985. I tell him all the time. So that and Saturday, Lee Steinberg has his party. We do some again a brain summit, helping again about retired players with some of the brain injuries that they've had, and Super Bowl breakfast Saturday morning honoring Russell Wilson this year. So incredible amount of events, but they're all related to a charity.
Yeah,
these aren't just events. I don't go to the Maxim party or these celebrity. I go for if there's a purpose to raising money for something. That's what I want to go to. I don't care about the I would like to go to a Playboy party one year, but I don't get invited to those. But I love going to the charitable causes. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think it's it's very clear your mindset behind it, which is so appreciated, is it's that that charity mindset. And you gotta when you see Kurt Warner, you gotta throw Ben's name at him, because I know Ben really wants him on the show. We'll see if we can make it happen sometime. Who knows?
Well, I think in 2 years, Ben, I think it's going to be in Vegas. I think I need you as my wingman in Vegas.
There you go.
Me on the strip in Vegas.
Next year is in Arizona.
Yeah, but I think 2 years, me and you on the strip would be a lethal duo, me and you. And I think we have to definitely do the town up. Vegas is going to be crazy.
We can buy an indoor roller coaster.
Indoor
roller coaster.
That's right. New York, there's a coaster there. You would love that. So, but it's going to be a fun time. So
I love
it.
I love it.
I love the History Channel. So Pawn Stars.
There's stores there too, right?
Yes, I have to visit them.
Yeah, that's true. That's amazing. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mike.
We really appreciate you coming on and just chatting. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Well, you may get a special video from some. I'm not going to name who it is, but you'll get a couple of cool videos this week, and I won't ruin a surprise for you. But I'm going to see some people this week that you like and that are going to support what you're doing, and you may have one of them on your show in a couple of weeks. I heard a rumor that one of these guys is going to be on the show.
We do. Who's that, Ben?
We can announce it now.
Yeah.
So Mr. Steinberg is actually going to be on our show.
Yeah. Lee Steinberg's been on our show. We're very excited about that. It's going to be a really good show. We have a lot to talk about for that one too. We're excited.
It's very exciting. I mean, it's like a dream. Like, you don't give up on it. Like, climbing that ladder.
Exactly.
Climb the ladder for sure.
Like shooting ladders.
Yeah. But to climb a ladder, Ben, where do you have to start?
We have to start from the bottom. Go all the way up to the top.
Exactly.
Like a manager, for example.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Thank you again so much. We
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. And hey, stay safe at that game, all right? Stay safe at that game.
Have a Philly cheesesteak for me, man. I miss those Philly cheesesteaks. Have one for me, please.
Yeah, we will. We will, for sure.
Tonight, but we'll have Philly cheesesteaks this week.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Thanks.
Good
Bye.
night. All right, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, so Ben just said we're going to stay on for a second. So as we just said, Ben, we have who on next?
Lee Steinberg next.
So we're doing a different type of setup. So our next guest is Rob Decker, and that's going to be the 22nd.
Yes.
But we're going to record with Lee Steinberg because he's a very busy man.
Yes.
So we're going to record that, but that will go out on what day?
March 1st.
March 1st, right. So we're going to try and do a show that day as well. It's going to be maybe a little different because we'll kind of do an intro like this, and then we'll play the episode that we record, and then we'll do like a little outro maybe. So bear with us on that one. That's kind of a extra up in the air.
And if you have any questions to ask today, or like if you want to know like a little bit about him, just send us emails.
Yeah.
We don't want to take up his whole time. We don't want to sit there for hours. Talking with him.
Yeah. But if you have any questions, we'd love to ask him the questions you guys have. And once again, our website really is the lead of all information. So it's got everything on there for who's on when.